Trapped among the trees, the strangers begin to realize that this forest follows its own laws, and when night falls, it no longer belongs to them. It belongs to the creatures watching from the darkness. In the north of Ireland, there is a massive and mysterious forest that everyone is afraid of. People almost never go there, because they know one thing for certain: there is no way back. Still, some tourists and thrill seekers decide to push further than they should. But they can never tell anyone what happens inside, because they are never seen again. One of those people is John, a man who got lost and somehow managed to break free from the trap of the forest in order to find help for his wife, who is still trapped inside. He runs with everything he has, barely daring to look back. Constantly checking the time, John passes a sign with a terrifying name written on it: Point of No Return 108. He uses it as a landmark and keeps moving forward. But soon, he finds himself standing in front of the exact same sign again. The forest surrounds him. It presses in from all sides. It feels alive, and it feels like there is no escape. Panic starts to take over, but that is not even the worst part. When night falls, darkness swallows him, along with the screams of wild animals. Desperate to survive, John climbs a tree. For a moment, it seems like he might make it, but then the branch in his hand snaps, and he crashes to the ground. Severely injured, he drags himself toward his backpack, reaching for a knife to defend himself. He manages to grab it, but it is already too late. It is not just animals that hunt in this forest. There are monsters here too, creatures that move almost silently. They attack instantly, and within seconds, John is dead. Mina is a 28-year-old American who fled the United States after her mother's death. She has a twin sister named Lucy, but she has cut off contact with her ever since a tragedy that happened 15 years ago. Now, Mina lives in the city of Galway and leads the life of a true recluse. She works at a pet store, and one day she receives a task: deliver a parrot to a zoo located in another part of the country. Mina decides to postpone the trip until tomorrow, because today marks the anniversary of her mother's death. Instead of mourning, she chooses distraction. She goes to a cafe, puts on a wig, and pretends to be someone else, just to feel free for a little while. The next morning, Mina sets out on the road. Her only companion is the parrot, whom she names Darwin. Soon, she stops at a gas station and ignores a bulletin board covered with dozens of missing person notices from this very area. Trying to take a shortcut and reach her destination before sunset, she drives through the forest. That decision turns out to be her mistake. Deep in the wilderness, her phone starts glitching. The radio suddenly cuts out. Then the car engine dies. Spotting a road sign not far away, Mina assumes someone must be nearby who can help her. She takes the parrot with her and heads out to explore the area. Almost immediately, she feels it. The environment around her feels oppressive. Heavy. Wrong. Fear begins to build. Mina tries to return to her car, but suddenly she realizes something terrifying. The forest has changed. Behind her, there are only trees. Endless trees. The car is gone, as if it never existed. At one point, Mina understands that she is facing inevitable death from hunger and cold. But even that is not the worst thing that can happen here. When a flock of birds flies over her head, the ground begins to tremble, warning her that something is approaching. Refusing to stay still, she searches desperately for a way out and notices a woman in the distance. It is the only person she has seen within dozens of miles. Mina follows her and discovers a strange concrete building. The stranger invites her inside, insisting she has only 5 seconds to save herself. Mina chooses to trust her and rushes forward, slipping inside just before the woman closes the door until dawn. Once inside, Mina meets 3 other unfortunate survivors: a young man named Daniel, a married woman named Sierra, and an elderly schoolteacher named Madeline. They live inside a concrete structure with one mirrored glass wall, and they call it the cage. Life here is not a choice, it is survival. There is no way out of the forest, and this building is the only shelter. To stay alive, they are forced to live like fish in an aquarium, constantly visible to whatever stands outside. They know there is something terrible in the woods, entities they call the Watchers. No one truly understands what they are, but one thing is certain: anyone who remains outside the building after sunset will be killed. Now, standing before them as if on a theater stage, Mina is told she must forget her fear and greet the audience. If she angers them, she will not survive. The next morning, Mina decides she is leaving the forest. She convinces herself that everything happening around her is some kind of madness. She refuses to believe in monsters and promises she will escape the trap. But soon she begins experiencing hallucinations. She sees and hears her deceased mother. Running from what feels like a childhood nightmare, Mina reaches the edge of a hill and realizes something horrifying. The forest is endless. Escaping it before nightfall is nearly impossible. Madeline comforts her and explains the rules of survival. She believes it is easier to adapt and live than to run and die. Around the perimeter of the area, there are warning signs that read Point of No Return. They mark the furthest boundary from which someone can still make it back to the shelter within a few hours. That evening, the 4 of them return to the cage once again to entertain their audience. They do not need to perform anything special. Simply being themselves is enough. Sierra loves to dance. Mina withdraws into herself and watches television. Silence behind the glass is the highest compliment the actors can receive. Because if there is noise, if there is agitation, the monsters may find a way inside and kill them. In the morning, the group splits up. Daniel goes hunting. Sierra and Mina search for useful herbs to make medicine or stop potential bleeding. It is then that Mina learns Sierra has a husband named John, who left 6 days ago to look for help. To Mina's dismay, they have been trapped here for a long time, and no one has ever managed to leave. Sierra has been in the forest for about 5 months. Daniel has been there twice as long. And no one knows how long Madeline has survived in this place. Wanting to show her more, Sierra leads Mina to a pit in the ground, a vertical hole that descends into the lair of the Watchers. These entities cannot tolerate sunlight and hide in underground burrows during the day. At night, they emerge and observe the humans as if watching a stage performance. There are strict rules. Never turn your back to the audience. Never leave the building after sunset. Never approach the burrows. Anyone who breaks these rules faces a painful death. Still, Sierra believes her husband managed to escape and will soon return with help. As another night falls, Mina decides to test the behavior of the Watchers. She approaches the glass and knocks on it, waiting for a reaction. Soon, the monsters begin knocking back, harder, faster, demanding her attention. The following morning, Mina convinces Daniel to investigate what lies inside one of the burrows. Driven by curiosity, he helps lower her down. At the bottom, she discovers a bicycle, a flashlight, and an old video camera. She asks him to pull everything back up. At one point, she senses something behind her. One of the Watchers is awake. It is standing there, right behind her, but the sunlight pouring into the pit saves her from being attacked. Mina suggests using the items they found. The flashlight and the bicycle could be useful for the upcoming escape, and the video camera can be switched to live mode so they can see exactly what the monsters look like outside. After connecting the camera to the television, the group of 4 waits for nightfall. But instead of the Watchers, John appears at the door. He calls out to Sierra and asks for help. Madeline forbids anyone from opening the door, reminding them of the rules. She also suggests that John might actually be a monster, merely imitating Sierra's husband. By asking him personal questions, the young woman realizes that this is not quite the man she knows. But love can blind you, and Sierra chooses to believe that her husband is still alive. She is ready to break the rules and open the door, but the monsters that arrive drag him away into the darkness. What is happening turns out to be only the beginning of something far more terrifying, because the monsters are angry. They know that Mina broke the rules and entered their lair. Even worse, she stole some of the things that belong to them. Showing open aggression, the Watchers try to smash the glass, but Madeline steps in front of the others, begging the creatures to forgive them. The monsters stop, giving them a chance. The next morning, the elderly woman returns everything that was stolen the day before back to the lair. It is there that Mina remembers the events of her past. 15 years ago, she, her twin sister, and their mother were getting ready for a trip. On the way, Mina was acting up and playing with the car window, distracting her mother from the road. At one point, that distraction caused them to cross into oncoming traffic and crash. After losing her mother in the car accident, Mina believed she was the only reason it happened, and she ran away from home, unable to live with the guilt. Several months later, the 4 people surviving in the forest lose hope. They realize that no help is coming and that they are doomed to die there. It feels as if hopelessness physically surrounds them. But Mina is the only one who refuses to give up. As she continues gathering herbs, she studies the terrain, maps out routes, and marks the trees, determined to escape one day. Daniel also dreams of freedom, but Madeline is convinced there is no point. In her view, they must accept reality instead of feeding themselves illusions about freedom. Soon, Sierra loses all remaining hope when she finally accepts that her husband is dead. Wanting to follow him, she is ready to throw herself into the lair and die. Mina begs her not to do it. Suddenly, they hear a scream and see Daniel tying the elderly woman to a tree. He wants to take action in any way he can and has decided that offering a sacrifice might be an effective method. Trying to stop him, Mina frees the woman, but Sierra and Daniel lock themselves inside the structure and refuse to let them back in. As soon as night falls, Mina and Madeline realize they need to hide. The older woman leads the girl to a rotting tree, hoping the foul smell will mask them from the Watchers. Moments later, one of the creatures is standing directly above them. Mina is ready to scream in terror, but Madeline covers her mouth with her hand, begging her to stay quiet and simply watch. Around the building, an audience begins to gather. Terrifying 3-meter-tall monsters, nothing like humans at all. Instead of putting on some kind of performance, Daniel announces that 2 people are still outside. Enraged, the monsters scatter in different directions to hunt them down. Madeline and Mina use that opportunity to run back to the building. Mina begs Daniel to let them in, and eventually he gives in and opens the door. Once all 4 are inside, Madeline decides to tell the truth. She once taught history, folklore, and mythology. Unlike the others, she is not a random victim. She came to the forest intentionally, searching for something supernatural. The monsters behind the glass are the fairies, so-called shapeshifters who once had wings. Long ago, they lived alongside humans, but interbreeding led to conflict, and humanity eventually drove them out, forcing them to live underground in burrows. Now they have found a way back to the surface and are studying humans in order to resemble them. The fairies can change their appearance, copy voices, and become almost indistinguishable from people in every way except for small details. Once, Madeline saw a creature that looked exactly like her, but its gaze was emptier, and its limbs were slightly longer than they should have been. In the present moment, the four hear their own voices outside and realize that Madeline's story is terrifyingly true. The monsters are furious about the broken rules and are trying to break down the door to get inside. Desperately searching for a way to survive, the group accidentally discovers a steel sheet hiding a hatch that leads underground. With no other choice, they climb down and seal it shut just before the fairies break into the structure. It turns out there is a fully equipped bunker directly beneath them, complete with food, electricity, and an old computer. On it are hundreds of recordings left by a man who shares the first real knowledge about what is happening. The professor came here deliberately, because he had studied the monsters his entire life. He is the one who released them and set everything in motion. For dozens and then hundreds of days, he tried to establish contact with the creatures, until one day he managed to capture one of them. Keeping the being in a cage, the professor attempted to communicate and find common ground, but after 300 days, he killed both the shapeshifter and himself. In his final video, the man explains that all of his recordings are meant to serve as a lesson, one that can be used to escape. He provides the coordinates of a safe route and instructs them to follow the birds, which will lead them out of the forest to a lake where a boat is waiting. For the first time in months, hope and optimism fill the room, and the four decide they will escape the next morning. Feeling that freedom is closer than ever before, Sierra and Daniel dance, celebrating the belief that their nightmare will soon be over. The following morning, the four survivors leave the bunker and find the building completely destroyed. There is no going back. Without wasting a single minute, they set out on their journey. Following the markings on the trees, they reach the point of no return number 134. Beyond a skeletal remains marker, the endless forest begins, a place where anyone could disappear forever. Luckily, they have a parrot with them, because only birds can truly guide the right way. Releasing Darwin from his cage, Mina tells the others to follow him. Several hours later, they discover a massive stone marker, a gate once used to seal the shapeshifters underground. As they keep moving forward, the four of them realize time is running out. They run, trying to ignore the rain and the screams echoing behind them. Soon, the sun begins to set, and the sounds of the monsters grow closer. The hunt begins. Somehow, the friends manage to escape the forest and reach the edge of a lake. When they spot a boat nearby, they rush toward it. But Daniel suddenly freezes when he sees John behind him, begging for help. Forgetting every warning, he decides to save Sierra's husband, making a devastating mistake. Madeline, Sierra, and Mina realize it's not John at all, but a shapeshifter. Daniel doesn't hear them. After freeing the boat from its chains, the woman and the two girls push off from shore, forced to watch as the monster brutally kills him, then transforms into him. The creatures cannot leave the forest, which allows the three survivors to escape. By morning, they find themselves in a beautiful landscape far from the woods and make their way onto an old stone bridge. After stopping a bus, Madeline, Sierra, and Mina return home, hoping the nightmare is finally over. The next day, Mina goes to the university where the professor worked to fulfill his last request. He had insisted that the survivors destroy all of his research so no one else would fall into the same trap. Inside his office, she discovers journals, paintings, and a recorder containing several audio files. From this evidence, Mina learns that the Fae were once harmless, even benevolent. They had wings and helped humanity grow and evolve. But the rise of half-blood shattered the natural order, leading to a brutal interspecies conflict. She also finds photographs that terrify her. That evening, Mina goes to Sierra to share what she uncovered. It turns out the professor had been married to a woman named Madeline. At first, it might seem that the woman who was with them in the forest was his wife, but the real Madeline died back in 2001. This leads Mina to a horrifying conclusion. The Madeline they escaped with is not human at all, but the very shapeshifter the professor had kept locked in a cage. It sounds insane, but the only option they have now is to wait for Madeline to come back and start watching them. Soon, a car pulls up to the house, and Sierra steps out. In that moment, Mina realizes the terrifying truth. The person she has been speaking to this entire time was not her friend, but Madeline, disguised as her. The monster attacks Sierra, then turns on Mina, unleashing her full strength and fury. As it turns out, Madeline is no ordinary creature. She is a rare kind of monster, considered an outcast even among her own kind. She is resistant to sunlight and, unlike the others, can leave the forest. She allowed the others to escape on purpose, so she could gain her freedom and begin tearing apart the human world as they know it. Transforming into Mina, the shapeshifter attacks her with the intent to kill. She plans to take the girl's place and ignite a new war, one that will wipe out humanity and restore the Fae to the top of evolution. Realizing she doesn't have the strength to win in a physical fight, Mina chooses a different strategy. She decides to reveal the truth. The reason Madeline is different is not because she is deformed, but because of her mixed blood. She is not an ordinary monster. She is the descendant of a Fae and a human. That is why she has the ability to become a creature of destruction or remain human and embrace compassion. As Madeline struggles to process this revelation, she is overwhelmed by pain. But with understanding comes transformation. Wings emerge from her back, Fully embracing her true nature, she chooses not to kill Mina and Sierra. Instead, she spreads her wings and flies away. Some time later, Mina invites her sister and her children over, hoping to rebuild their relationship. Everything that happened has led her to a powerful realization. There is darkness inside every one of us, but we are capable of choosing not only cruelty, but kindness. Yes, sometimes we make mistakes, and those mistakes lead to sacrifice. What matters is recognizing them, learning from them, and moving forward. She no longer blames herself for her mother's death, and she no longer sees herself as a monster. She understands that she has the power to become better and to do good. At the same time, Mina knows that Madeline is still watching her, now disguised as a red-haired schoolgirl, and she understands that she must set an example for her. Is fear of the unknown a rational defense mechanism, or a projection of our inner darkness? Could it be that the real predators are not born in the forest, but inside the human mind? Share your thoughts in the comments, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.